Someone said, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Well, that's not always the case. Sorry to say. Now, don't ask me for examples, right? And we don't have a different duck from South Africa. We often think that those God calls are the ones that have certain innate gifts and talents. Bishops' elections generally are the same. I've been at 2 bishops' elections in the last few years where the leading candidate looked like he, in both cases it was a he, someone would be elected. Someone that looks like a bishop, sounds like a bishop, walks like a bishop, whatever all that means. Oh, I should have called you up first. In these 2 bishops' elections that I was present at, the leading candidates were middle-aged, which is normal for the average Lutheran pastor, right? They were white, which is generally normal for the average Lutheran pastor. Only 27% of Lutheran pastors are women. They were white, which is, well, almost normal for the average Lutheran. 96% of ELCA Lutherans, 96.3, are white. One was gray, which is normal for the average Lutheran pastor. Unless you take your hair off. Actually, one was bald, which is normal. In many cases. I always joke with the one that's bald and you say, Bishop, you must really be loved by God. You know that, right? Luke chapter 12 verse 7 says, every hair on our head has a number. So there was Gabriel saying, oh, number 136 is just fallen, God. Now, in both these cases, they had prepared speeches. The one actually had a script. A script, which is normal for a Lutheran pastor. You can see I have that. Anyway, in both these cases, they looked like their parent choice. Even before the end, they were almost declared by MSNBC and Fox, we have to be inclusive, to be the outright winner. In both these cases, the number 2 won. They were both first language Spanish speakers, which is not normal for a Lutheran bishop in the USA. One was racially black Latino, and the other one was from a different country as the first one. Both were ordained later in their lives. In fact, the bishop that I knew, so I worked for him after that, was only ordained 11 years when he was elected bishop. And he was 69 years old when he was elected. I can go on. But the point is, they were not the likely ones. We together, you understand where I'm going. Now, Mary, the mother of Jesus, was also not the likely candidate. Do you agree? She was this poor maiden from Nazareth. And you know what Nathaniel said about Nazareth? Nazareth? Can anything good come out of Nazareth? I worked in Gary, Indiana, and I remember people saying that. Gary? Can anything good come out of Gary? One of the armpits of the USA, I was told. She was also not from the great state of Judea, the state where David is believed to be the state of David, King David, where Jerusalem and Bethlehem were. She was from Nazareth of Galilee, the not so great state, in the normal understanding of things. Even she was surprised. Even Mary was surprised. She was astonished. And then she starts singing in this, what we just read, called the Magnificat. Mary singing. Firstly, she acknowledges that it was a surprise. Secondly, she accepts her role because she knows that she was chosen by God, because she did not meet all the regular requirements of what the Mother of God, as the Catholics often refer to Mary as, the Mother of Jesus Christ, should have. God does not call the equipped, but God equips the called. Look at David. Almost every one of his brothers were better suited to be king. He was the little boy with a runny nose, running around in the dusty, out of home areas, often missing for a while, looking after the sheep, taking on wild animals with bare hands, rugged, not kingly. One might say he was not equipped, but he was called. And he became one of the greatest kings of the people of God. A man after God's own heart. Of all the people in Galilee, after Jesus started his ministry, he went and chose the rough and ready, rugged fisherman Peter to lead the disciples. Not the likely, not the natural choice. That time, if there was such a saying as the equivalent now of swear like a truck driver, it was swear like a fisherman, cuss like a fisherman. Apologies to those who are truck drivers. I'm just quoting American society. I don't agree with it. But most unlikely, Peter. So-called unlearned, unschooled, to take on, as we see in the early church in the book of Acts, to take on all those learned people and to give them the gospel and tell it like it is. He was not equipped, but he was called, and God equipped the called. Are you feeling called? Not just to some important role, and that too we feel called to. I resisted my call. I was not the most articulate, and I still not am. Is that even the right grammar? You know what I'm saying? I was not the tallest when you hear these, when I used to hear the speakers at that time, especially those on TV, they would speak with their baritone voices. And they had a way of pronouncing God as God. Almost like you could hear they were saying, "Thus saith the Lord." I couldn't say those things. The time I was called, I hadn't even gone to tertiary education. I was kind of struggling with it through distance learning. But even if I should say so myself, I think I've coped with this call. I know Crystal is smiling. This week on the 20th was 26 years since I was called. And it was so just another day, because I'm still trying to work out and I really called, that I didn't have a whole lot of fanfare. And then even put it on Facebook like I thought I might do. God calls you, and God equips you, if you are called. So I ask you again, are you feeling called? Do you feel compelled to do something? It might be something like to volunteer for the altar guild. I'm sure Kathy will be very happy. Some sense of call, some sense of compulsion. I think I need to do that. Maybe volunteer as a family promise volunteer, particularly the overnighter. And I'm sure that Amy will be very happy with that. Overnight guest. Maybe you feel called to just simply offer someone a ride to church. It's a calling. I'm trying to dispel the myth that we are, the callings are only limited to pastor, bishop, or something like that. Now I know going to give someone a ride is all our calling, right? We are called to be a good neighbor. But the special callings, gaps that the church has, roles that God wants you to play so that the gospel will be better communicated and spread in Gainesville or other parts of the world. Generally, we ask ourselves so many questions. Is this for me? Can I do this? Do I have the strength to do it? What about so and so? They have a better car. Maybe they should be the one to go and pick up Bruce and Alice. If you're called, brothers and sisters, God will equip you. If you're called, God will equip you. I'm pretty sure that Mary, and it's very apparent in the gospel, that she doubted why is it that she was called. But when we come to the point of understanding that God has called us, regardless of what we look like to ourselves, God will begin the process of equipping. And if we're not called to do that, we will see that too, because we will stumble and trip on ourselves and fall. And then we move on to what is it that God has called us to. But let's not waste time asking ourselves, delaying living into God's call. In Mary's case, she couldn't delay. 9 months later, the baby will come. And sometimes, even if we don't grasp this call with our both hands, God makes it happen in spite of us. Because God called, God equips, God prepares the ground. We all, every person sitting in this pew should be sensitive to what is it that God is calling you to. Not just what is it that God is calling you ELC to, what is it that God is calling you to in your everyday life? What is God's goal for you? Without worrying about whether I'm equipped or not. If you bundle through, you can blame God. You can say, by the way, I thought you called me for this, and look what I'm doing. But we have to do what Mary did, grasp our calling with both hands and move ahead. And then we would sit back and watch what God does when she saw her son, Jesus Christ, do all those great things, starting from, as it's recorded in Scripture, the first miracle of changing water into wine. She knew that God had chosen her. So let's be obedient. Let's succumb to God's calling. Let's not put up obstacles based on human reason and our own self-doubt. Don't fight it. Even if it does not quack, does not swim. It doesn't sound or look like a duck. If God wants it that way, it will be a duck. Amen.